Hello, everyone. Welcome to another fabulous installment of Tea and Biscuits with Tara and Bea and Kate Bateman, who is joining us today. We are beyond excited. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's nice. It's a bit blustery here. We're in the middle of a big storm, Brian or something. So it's very windy and scary out. You can see it's dark outside. Maybe.
Oh my. Oh, I didn't even realize that. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's almost over though, right? The storm is hopefully passing quickly.
Yeah. Last night was quite exciting, but our roof's still on, so it's fine.
There you go. That's what's
it's not like the Midwest where it's like tornadoes every other week.
Right. Well, I tell you, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I'm very, very thankful that you have internet and power and all of that good stuff, because that would have been, if I had known that in advance, I would have been worrying about that, which would have helped so much. Oh my gosh. Well, let's see who's already coming in and say hi. Megan, hello. Hello, Cheryl. Oh my gosh, that looks so pretty. I changed the font and now it looks so exciting. Hello, Abby Jean, Theron, hello, Vi. Hi, all. So excited for this and hope you and your family stay safe with the weather, Miss Kate.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
And morning. El Bella's. It's the morning somewhere over there.
It's 1 o'clock somewhere.
Tara, it's still the morning for you, right?
Technically, it's still 11. We're still in the AM.
Oh, okay.
Brunch. We're doing brunch with Kate Bateman. It's noon where I am. So, hello, Roxy. Kristen, hello from Cali. Oh, that's great. Wonderful.
I bet it's a lot warmer there in California than here. Nice.
Oh, yes. Truly, truly. Well, we're still, of course, people are still coming in saying hello, hello. Well, as you know by now, as everyone knows, this month's reading club book, what the pick that every month, everyone votes on what our book club pick will be. And so this month we did This Earl of Mine by the fabulous Kate Bateman, and which is book one of the Bow Street Bachelor series. I'm sure everyone knows this, just making sure that we are all on the same page. So I thought, why not just start with talking about this, gushing over it, how much fun it is. And I mean, you have such an extensive backlist, history, things exciting going on. I can't wait to just kind of breeze through it all, talk about it all. I promise we won't keep you forever, though.
That's fine. That's fine.
But yeah, what are our initial thoughts? This Earl of Mine. In fact, Kate, maybe not to put you on the spot, but tell us about what made you think to write this. What were the inspirations? Anything you want to share?
Well, so I don't know if you've ever read lots of old school historical romance. Like there's one, Widwis Shanna was one of my favorites, early ones. Totally does not translate well to modern sensibilities now, but still kind of fun. And that has a scene which starts and she marries the guy in prison, Rourke or whatever it is, and then it goes haywire from there, and much less consent and everything else. So it was a bit of a tongue-in-cheek, like, could I start a book with that premise of marrying a guy in prison, and then what would happen if it was like up to date and 20 years later, and what would be my spin on it?
Yeah.
And I just like spies and badasses and bodices and kick-ass people who do stuff. So that's how it ended up, was this book came out. And the true historical fact of submarines in the Regency, which I had been noodling around in a rabbit research hole, and or a research rabbit hole probably, and just ended up finding about this American guy called Robert Fulton, who had genuinely made Regency submarines that I knew nothing about, and I was like, that's pretty cool, I could put that in a book. And then submarines are small and squished, and I was like, oh, you could put two characters in there in the dark all squished up together, and that would be cool. So yeah, history geek met romance geek, and that was a beautiful marriage of like that was a scene right there, like, oh yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that you looked at it from a romance lens.
Yes.
How perfect. I think all of us
get these two people like really, unfortunately, close proximity, forced proximity somewhere really hot and dark and sweaty, and also not make any noise. That would be bad.
Yes. I'm always in awe, though, of these characters when we find a scene like that, when there's some danger they're in the midst of danger, and yet still they're like, but I'm so hot for you.
I know, the danger bag. It's a classic trope for a reason. It's, yeah.
Yeah, it's so fun.
They didn't go all the way there in this one, but I got as close as I thought they could in that situation.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
Yeah.
I love this. Oh, Tara, were you going to say something? I don't want to cut you off.
You're good. I just love that, like, they can't hold back the passion. It's like, we're in the middle of danger, but we have to do this. I love it. So great.
That's right. That's right. I love
the stress of having to be quiet and, not make a noise. Is just...
Right, exactly. That's a lot more fun for sure. Megan says, this was a reread and I still loved it. It was the first book I ever read from you and I was forever sold. Oh, Megan. There's so many good ones.
You're the one. You're the fan. Yay.
You're so cute. It was amazing. Would love to hear about the inspiration. Oh, yes. And you were telling us about that. Same as Megan, my first Kate Bateman read and still love it so much. And we've got more friends coming in too. Hello, everyone. So glad you could join us. Oh, it's 9 a.m. in Southern California.
Lucky devils.
Oh, but then we also have Manchester.
Manchester, yeah.
You're the one.
Susan might have snow up there. It's not quite here, but you've got it worse up north, I think. Susan, that's
Oh,
bad.
my heavens. Nice. Oh, my heavens. Oh, and here's another. First Kate Bateman, and I loved it. By the way, okay.
You're in now. That's it.
we are fans, and I wanted to show you too. One of our gals, she designed this AI reading room based on you. That's supposed to be a portrait of you there in the back, by the way.
I'll take it. Look at that.
Right? Isn't that neat? She designs these gorgeous AI rooms, and we used this one for our reading sprints for our book club just a couple of weeks ago. So it was very inspiring. And then she designed this one for today, which is supposed to be based on This Earl of Mine, in that there's gaming type things.
Yes, that's a gaming table there. Oh,
right?
Colors. I like it. That could be the tricorn cover right there. That's great.
There you go. There you go. Oh, and speaking of weather, no snow, but rain.
But rain, yeah.
Oh, yes. Same. There we have it. There we have it. So, okay. So, in terms of this whole series, This Earl of Mine, are there any that you feel are particular standouts? Obviously, I know we're all obsessed now with this first book.
I know. Look, I bothered to find some on my bookshelves. Look, I've got them here.
Oh, good! Yay! Oh, I'm so glad. Yeah, I made sure to show them off too. And of course, the one is just out of frame. I'm realizing.
But it's gorgeous. Look at the covers. Although I suspect that most of these are. I think these are the same cover model for the use.
They do look like it. I just love it though.
We were literally saying that on a live the other day. We're like, is he the same person?
But
okay.
This is my favorite cover purely because, and I've got some posts, I'll have to repost it. But this was the most risque cover. I made them put an extra stripe of red because she was falling out of the dress. In the first one that they sent me, like she was a sneeze away from ruination. And I said to them, guys, we can't because, especially on Facebook, you can't have, I have trouble with shoulders. Anything. And if I cropped, if you cropped it just right, it was terrible. So we ended up adding, you see that extra kind of bit where it goes up?
I do!
An inch at the top. And I've got the original, so I will repost if I can find it on my Instagram. I'll repost because I like to do like the cover evolutions occasionally when so I wish they'd stayed with the old one. It was great. But yeah, it was a bit risky. Probably wouldn't have got, it would be great, but yeah. So that's one of my favorite covers in both iterations because I just think the colors on that are so rich and gorgeous. They're just
so pretty.
And she's a thief, which steals the French crown jewels. Come on.
I love it. Oh my gosh, all these guys. I just can't wait to see all of them find love. Speaking of same cover models, I have to ask this because I'm going to forget and then I'm going to kick myself for not asking. Is this the same gentleman also? I look at it sometimes and think he is, and then I look at it sometimes and I think he's not. And if you don't know, that's fine too, because I know you've got so many covers.
The one on Orchids and Mistletoe is a model called Floyd, who I know is on loads. If you start spotting Floyd on everything, if they haven't done he's on lots of things.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think they probably did a head swap. It might originally have been his. I don't think it is. No, I think it is a different head. Isn't that terrible? Like Frankenstein. I'm like, I think this is a different head. It doesn't look like Floyd. because I think Floyd, I haven't got my others. I think he's on one of my others. Maybe Floyd might be on Raven's Heart, if you've got that one, which I don't have here. That might be him.
I do have Raven's Heart.
That could be him. Yeah, that's Floyd. So that's the same guy as is on.
And I've seen him on quite a few covers.
He's everywhere. Once you start noticing him, he's a bit like the new Fabio. He's like he's everywhere on.
Floyd.
So few stock sites, but I mean, I got so lucky for the Trad Pub ones. I had St. Martin's Press did. There's a guy called John Paul Ferrara who did these ones, who is just a legend, and I just died when they told me I'd got these covers by him. And there's another guy called Alan Ayers who does another one who's also amazing. So I was look at them.
Yes,
stunning.
They could all be the same guy. I don't know.
I wonder if it is, because even his haircut is very similar.
No, 3 is definitely different. 3 is different. I get.
3 is different. Okay.
Possibly.
Okay.
But yeah.
I mean, I just love
I like the painterly, the way they have painterly. And the one on This Earl of Mine, I was on Smart Bitches Trashy Books do a cover snark, and you're not an author until you've made it. And they were saying about how impossible it was for him to have his knee up there. Like, I mean, he's just so, I mean, I saw I was on cover snark. I'm like, I can die happy now. That's it. I've had, I've been on cover snark on Smart Bitches Trashy Books. So
there you go.
They've got a point.
I love it. We've got more fans. We've got some more here. Love you, Kate. All your covers are gorgeous, and thank you for still doing clinch covers. Yes,
I know, it's like we're a dying breed. I think I was saying that it's probably me and Joanna Shute, but like the last ones that are still kind of trad published doing it, and a few others actually. But yeah, I kind of like them. I mean, we go on about how much shirt or unshirt. I was the whole free the man nipple, and so that's why. Which is it? Wait. This, I was so happy. I was on a personal quest to get a man nipple on a cover, and look, I got one.
You've done now I need to look. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna go to that slide.
I was so happy I managed to sneak that one past the cover gods. I was like, that's brilliant.
Oh my gosh.
I love its shoulders or its
so pretty. It is.
Oh, I got another one. I forgot.
I just adore.
I nearly got one on Second Duke, but they're covering it with her hand. I was like, perhaps you've got another sneaky.
No. Now I'm noticing all these things. Oh yeah, it is covered. Oh yeah. Yes.
But that's a fun new game. Spot the nipple is always fun.
Spot the nipple. Tara, that's going to be the next game we do on our live stream.
Bingo. Yeah.
I know the program does like Man Nip Monday.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, it's only fair.
It's pretty funny. Sometimes I hop on Instagram and it'll be Man Nip Monday, and that's the first thing I see when I hop on, and I'm like, whoa, I was not ready for that.
I'm all for it. You need to wake up on a Monday morning.
This is true. This is true. Well, can we talk a little bit about the series that I feel, actually, okay, so I came up with some questions, and this is perfect. Is there a book that stands out as having resonated the most with your audience would you say?
It's different because many people. Sometimes I'll write a book and I'll be like, everyone's going to love this one. And then hardly anyone likes it. And then others that I just think, I wasn't feeling it, or I slogged through it. And then you're just glad it's out. And everyone's like, oh, this is great. And you're like,
you never know.
It's right. And everyone has their own favorites. I mean, I think lots of people like Daring Pursuit because I think they like Karis is quite daring. And I kind of went with the whole, that's the classic enemies to lovers, but she's quite feisty, and she was my first non-virginal heroine. I wanted to get away from that and just give her a bit of a backstory and have her quite kind of different and fun and outrageous. And I had a lot of fun writing her. And so I think readers, if I'm sitting here giggling to myself, then I think that comes across in the books. And so that I enjoyed that particular one. Writing Daring was really fun.
Yeah.
And just to tease you, my next one that's coming out which is Road Trip with a Rogue. It's my absolute favorite book I've ever written. And I honestly think, I hope everyone's going to love it because I love it. And it's not even out till next summer. And that's the worst thing. This is it.
Oh,
So,
I love that cover.
I want it to be here now already, but it's not. So,
I mean, for the title already. I mean, Road Trip, Rogue.
Yes, I know.
I mean, everything. I mean, everybody is already talking about this book.
Well, in my head, so we all the titles are the last things that ever happen. So when I'm writing the book for like 6 whole months, it's always a different just stand-in title that's in my head. So this to me is Daisy and the Duke, which is, you know, that was its original title in all my files, is Daisy and the Duke. And I don't know why. It was kind of, I think maybe it's Dukes of Hazzard was Daisy the Duke. I don't know.
Daisy Dukes. Yes.
Got nothing to do with that, but it was Daisy and the Duke was But yeah, Road Trip with Road is perfect because it's basically forced proximity in a carriage / kidnap. She holds up the wrong coach, kidnaps him, or maybe he kidnaps her. Nobody's sure. It's carnage, and it's. I had so much fun writing this one. I can't wait.
Oh, I'm so excited! And guess what, Kate? You're going to be even more excited because guess what? Melody just pointed out. It has a man.
It does have man nipple. I don't even have that cover. I haven't even got. I did 2 out of 3. Wow, I could do like. Surely the next
cover, not the nipple. Don't ban me, please. You're so funny, bye.
She says, I have nipples, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even recognize that. Wow, yeah.
I love it. Even
Please.
more reason to love it. Even more reason. I know we've been very excited about this entire series. I've been having so much fun, and yeah, I'm just hoping, you know, they put the arcs out. I bet the arc for this one's going to come out before too long. Any word on that?
Road Trip with Rogue, I have heard nothing. The last person to know will get arcs or anything. Occasionally I'll get a thing saying, hey, it's on Audible. So I'm like, oh, great.
That's great.
It's a bit weird as well because obviously I finished this and did final edits like back in July, I think. I handed that one in. And and I've been starting to plot and pitch my next series, whatever that is. And so you kind of, it's like people who do films and it takes like the one they're promoting is a year after they've already done a different one. So I've not written another book since this Road Trip with Rogue, but it seems such a long time ago, but it's not even out yet, which is crazy. So
that does feel like rather time soup, I suppose.
Yeah,
so, okay. So then this brings me to this question. This is a question that's on everyone's minds, maybe. Or many of our minds. So we've got the Ruthless Rivals series, which for me, that was how I first learned of you. Most people, when they'll say like, oh, she's the writer of the Ruthless Rivals series. That's how we reference you initially. We also have these novellas. Now, was Scandal in July, is that a novella or a novel?
It is a novella. That was part of the Rake Review series, which was a series of 12 books, one a month. And I'd left these characters dangling. So because of my my publishing, I have to give them, they usually only want a 3-book series, frustratingly, because I would happily do longer series, but that's what Trad seem to prefer. And so they don't want full-length novels. And I have the rights written into my contract that I can write anything else in the series that I like if they refuse it, or I can do novellas in the same series with spin-off characters. So that's why I left a few dangling characters like the twins and the kind of cousins coming back from Brazil, just so I could pair them all off in these extras. Yeah. And
I love it.
It was bonkers. I had so much fun writing that. I don't even know what.
I adored that. Megan is just saying she's just finishing up A Scandal in July. I've been dying to read that. I have the Rake Review calendar, and I'm telling everybody it's just so much fun. And of course, now I want to get to that as well. Is that your cake, by the way? Do you need to help me understand?
I don't know what's beeping. It's not my alarm. I don't know. No alarms are going on. I think we're fine. I've got half an hour left at least for the cake, so we're good.
Okay.
Unless flames start shooting out of my oven.
I will definitely tell you if we see those in the background.
It still smells okay in here, so I think we're all right. There's no burning.
There you go. That's all you need. That's all you need.
It might be my dishwasher. I don't know. I'm not
This is what I love about this. It's real life. It's homey. You know, I love it. I love it. So is there a chance, and if you don't feel comfortable answering, I understand, but is there a chance for more Ruthless Rivals novellas in the future?
I think I probably used up most of the characters in that. That's very annoying, isn't it?
If you want to look, we'll just be here if you want. It's totally up to you.
I think it peaks like 5 times and then it just gives up and knows I'm not going to open it. So
clearly you're not coming for me.
I know. I don't think I've got any spare characters. This is the problem. Who else have I got? I would really like the aunts who are crazy, the crazy old aunts. They potentially, I could, if I ever go back and do like a Georgian or late or, you know, something like that, they would be brilliant to like do a prequel of the crazy Constance and Prudence just getting up to troll with pirates and whatever they're doing, because they would be a lot of fun.
We love a good prequel.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah, no, I'm plotting out my next series now, which I'm hoping is gonna come. I'm still in the plotting stages, but yes.
Really? Is there anything you probably can't tell us anything, can you? I'm just asking because I have to.
Well, usually I start with the vibes. So the vibes are more like action, adventure, romance, a bit like, did you see The Lost City and Romancing the Stone and
I'm excited.
The Mummy would be another vibe. So yeah, that's what I'm working towards to pitch. So don't know if they're going to like it or not. I don't know. If not, I might just do it anyway and just indie publish them because they're in my head now and I can't not think about it.
So okay, a lot of your books are very like adventure-y and like I just love that aspect of it.
I know. Well, I kind of grew up on the old Joanna Lindsay's where she did. I mean, it was crazy stuff like pirates and Russian princesses and space. You know, she did space people and all kinds of Vikings. You know, you name it. So I think people have got very stuck. Certainly, tried in the Regency, which is only like a period of roughly 20 years. And so it's like there's so much else out there. There's a whole of history out there, which is equally cool. And you don't have to be stuck in an English ballroom. And I guess that's why I started writing, because I wanted to read stuff that wasn't just that. And it's not to say that you can't have a fantastic only English set, you know, historical. But I just kind of wanted to go a bit further with it. So yeah, that's why I've ended up doing. I mean, I usually used to pitch it to my editors, like, oh, definitely, it's all in England. Like the first series you got there, I was like, yeah, the first one's in France, the second one's in Spain, and the third one's in England. But they don't notice that till about chapter 3, and by that point, I've already written most of it. So they let me get away with it. So, oh, yeah, it's definitely said Regency England, yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So is there a favorite time period or setting for you to write about, or are you just like bouncing around? How does that work?
I do like the Regency just because of my background in, you know, historical, you know, appraising, antiques, that kind of stuff. I've seen so many Regency stuff. Like I know what a snuff box looks like and I've worn the dresses and I've held the fans. And so that's kind of easy to imagine like the rooms and things and what people are doing. And it's not so far in the past that people like it's not accessible to us. Like I think it's really hard for people to get into a medieval feel. You have to do a lot more work to kind of get there. But Regencies, they're very like us. We're all aware of the Jane Austen, and you know, you kind of understand that world, and they're kind of sort of historically quite close. Except it has all these cool rules that stop your characters just getting together. Because contemporary, like, what's stopping them? There's nothing. You have to have a really good conflict.
Yes.
Otherwise, they just have a conversation and you know, go back to each other's houses. You know, that's it. So I guess I like the historical framework of those rules, and then seeing how they can twist them or, you know, subvert them or do something interesting with them to get where they want to go, or, you know. So I guess, but my first ever book, Devil to Pay, which you got up there, that was totally different, Italian Renaissance, and just that was my first book I ever wrote, although it was the 4th book that I ever got published, and it's the one that got my publishing deal because I won a bunch of contests. An editor at Random House said, I love this, I can't publish it for love nor money because there's no market for historical, you know, medieval Renaissance Italy. But you can clearly write, lady, so can you write us a Regency? And I was like, yeah, your Random House, I'll write whatever you like. So I wrote the Regencies. But I like that because I'd read Laura Kinsale, who is one of my all-time top tier God level authors. And she'd done Shadowheart and For My Lady's Heart, which are two of my favorites, certainly Shadowheart. With morally grey heroes, and I just wanted more of that. And Julie Garwood's Ransom was that kind of same thing. And I looked around and couldn't find that much of it, so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to write. They say write what you want to read, so I did that, and didn't know much about, publishing or how marketable it was. But it's a decent story, and actually it's really fun to write, and you can do lots of horrible things in the medieval period that you can't in the Regency. Like, I can kill people off in modern ways, I can have mercenaries, it can be a lot more bloodthirsty, and I can blow things up. I mean, it was really, I had a lot of fun. And
oh my gosh,
he was a bit of a morally grey hero as well, Alessandro, on that one. It was kind of based on the Borgias and all that kind of real factual infighting. And ironically, I self-published that because I couldn't sell it to a trad publisher, but it was Rita nominated, which was a kind of nice vindication of, it's still a good story. It just happens to not be Regency. But
right,
I'd love to go back to do different. I don't know. I never say never. Like, maybe I'll go back. I was joking with Kerrigan Byrne how we both want to write. We were saying, oh, what if we weren't, Kate and Kerrigan, and we weren't writing, Regency historicals, what would we write? With a secret pen name that nobody knew, and she wanted to do like berserkers and all kinds of crazy things, and I said I would do like Roman gladiators, Pompeii, that kind of stuff, and I was like, yeah, that'd be so cool. Like, come on. So
I love it.
So yeah, I never say never. I will not say I'm never going to write another period other than Regency, but hopefully the next series will still be Regency.
Yeah.
Regency, Napoleonic, early Victorian-ish.
So fun. So you mentioned that this was your fourth. I'm going to take a wild guess, and I'm going to say, tell me if I'm right, were the first three The Secrets and Spies?
Yes.
And then, of course, I added Orchids and Mistletoe because I couldn't help
Which were first published by Penguin Random House with not those covers, with completely different covers. And then I, a few years ago, got the rights back to them, and then I reissued them with those covers. So that's why I know it's Floyd on the cover for Raven's Heart.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's funny. It just occurred to me, we were talking about this the other day, that it says Kate Bateman.
Yes.
Here.
But the new ones I've updated to Kate. That was so stupid. So when I first started publishing with Random House, I don't know why Kate Bateman we went with. I think it was because at the time it was J.K. Rowling and everyone was like, you just use initials. Before I realized it was such a pain. It's a nightmare for people to find you because you don't know if you put a period or a space, or people immediately forget initials anyway. Like, is it RC? Is it KC? Is it, So, yes, when I switched to my second publisher, it was Macmillan, we just went, you know what, Kate just is a lot easier. Let's just switch to that. And so I'm slowly going back. So yeah, you've got old covers with Casey on, and now then I've updated to the new Kate ones, but there's still a lot both out there, like randomly. Yeah.
I have to tell you, this is me. I told you I was going to try to not fangirl too much, but I have to have my moment because I've read most of your backlist. My goal was to read your entire backlist before we met, and then everyone in my house got pneumonia, and that kind of ruined that. But I read this. This might be my favorite book by you. This is so different from most historical romances. There's a scene where he's training her, and he's so tough. And he's
so horrible. I mean, I really went there with him, and I can't remember who I was. Yeah, he does he's right on the edge of being really horrible. I wanted him to be really, really mean, but with good reason, and make it a lot harder for her to come down to actually liking him.
It was so good, though. And because I was afraid I wasn't going to like him. And especially his friends are coming in going, please go easy on her. Go easy on her.
Yes.
But when she would, for example, fall, and he would just go again. And she, I felt like I was watching one of those amazing movies, like a training montage.
It's like old Yoda and what's it in the swamp, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was the action was so fantastic. The spice was so fantastic. I loved all the different settings. Like, we're even in a prison, and we're in a.
That was a reverse Prison Break, which was again based on a real historical guy who wrote. he got himself thrown into prison. I can't remember. It's Henri Latude was a French guy, and he'd sent poison powder to Marie Antoinette, and then pretended to discover this plot to poison her. And then they kind of researched, and they were like, actually, it was you. And so he was in prison, and he escaped twice. He escaped from the Bastille and from Chateau de Vincennes. And very handily, he wrote an exact book when he was free of how he did it. So I was like, that's cool. So how if we, instead of breaking out, break in using the same methods or whatever, break it. And that was, that was, I was like, that's pretty research gold. Like, because if anyone goes, that's not believable, I'm like, well, actually, I think you're right.
So fun.
They really did. And some of it made up. And some of it was, you couldn't even use, like, there was a bit where he trained rats to run messages between the cells. And then, so my editor was like, you know what, we'll keep the scaling up, down the walls, drilling through the walls, going over the moat. We will not have trained rats delivering messages. That's just a bridge too far. And I'm like, come on.
Draw line.
The rats have to go. Let's just go. So,
I mean, that's very authentic, though, rats.
And, you can even go to the chateau and visit. He's got like his rope ladder where he actually made it out of his furniture and his clothes and escaped down. It's so cool.
So great.
But it was a bit of a bonkers one. But in the prison, the scene where they're in the prison and they finally like realize or think they're about to die, and it's like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Right. And then it's like they're in a submarine.
Yes.
You kind of say.
I don't think, there's no time or energy to do it in the prison. I mean, sanitation was not great anyway.
Oh gosh, this is true.
So we happily forget that all the dukes were like not 25 and hot, and nobody bathed, and they probably all had like the gout and syphilis, and but in Romancelandia they're all gorgeous and hot. We're allowed that. So.
I love the scenes. They're always like, I don't know how he looks so good. It must be the boxing he does every week.
The fencing.
They all look, like.
Well, he was trained from the war.
Mine were all ex-soldiers, definitely. Still keeping up with the tragic regime of, horse riding and I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
That's what's so funny about being dinged for historical inaccuracy, because at what point, I mean, we're writing historical fantasy, realistically, that's what we're doing, and we're looking at it through a 21st century lens as well. So it's I'm not writing language that is, I try not to, put electricity in the Regency, and I try not to make too many anachronistic, words. But at the same time, it has to be accessible to a modern reader. Otherwise, nobody would read it and enjoy it. You don't want it to be hard work. Like, I can read Chaucer in the Middle English. I don't want to. It's miserable. It's a great story, but it's a lot of hard work to get there. So, I want it to be fun and accessible to people as well. So, yeah.
Perfectly stated. I love this. We had a question. I don't want to forget this, so I'm going to bring it up. Is it lowercase or all uppercase? Definitely hard to find them. T. Kingfisher, so hard to ask for in the wild.
I know. Yeah, exactly. It's like uppercase. Do you have a full stop between them? Is there a gap on search engines? Like, I can't even remember myself. I keep getting locked out of all my accounts that still have K.C. Bateman or whatever it is.
Oh, no.
Is there a space between them? I don't know. So, yeah.
It looks like capitals. And with a dot after.
They are capitals, but then it's like, is there a space between the dot and the C and a dot and the B, C and the B? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just
try a couple things, Kristen. Just try a couple different things and see what comes up.
Right.
Is my recommendation. Megan says,
Nick on Steal a Heart was, he was fun, and the scene where they're faking it in the brothel has just made me laugh a lot. that was fun to write.
Oh my gosh, so fun.
That's an unusual one in that it sort of breaks the form at the end, because the hero and the heroine they have their own battles and then get together, not spoiling it, but they're not together for one final battle. And I thought about it, but actually I kind of thought that she wanted to be so independent, she had to kind of fix it herself rather than have him running into a burning building and saving it for her, because otherwise that's not an equal thing. And he had to go and do his thing and finish, go to Waterloo and finish his thing. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the person that she'd fallen in love with. So it was kind of weird when I kind of messed about with conventions on the ending of that. And it was a little bit, there's a Georgette Hare, which is These Old Shades, which I think had a sort of similar plot line ending of that, with a kind of slightly older age gap thing. and a kind of weird dynamic, which now is uncomfortable. But I kind of like their dynamic of you're right, the training scene, and he's definitely got the upper hand for most of the book until he doesn't, and then it's
yes. I love it.
Everybody wants to come up and on the grovel, and that's what we're here for.
Oh, we love a good grovel.
See, that's one I haven't read yet, so now I'm super excited.
Tara, you have to read it, Tara.
Okay.
You gotta read it.
That's a good one. Yeah, there's a few people are like, I can't. If I'm sitting there typing and everyone goes, oh, I can't believe I wrote that, and am I going to get away with it? That probably means it's going to be a scene that everyone likes. Like, just pushing it's like, should I? And then you're like, yeah.
That's right. There you go. There you go. I love this comment from Melody. Sorry to be off topic, but I have to say that I love your narrator. Beverly A. Crick is the absolute best. Yes, I associate her with you for sure. Every time
she is really good. But she is fabulous. But what's weird is that I can't listen to more than a couple of minutes of any of my books. I've literally never listened to any of them more than about 10 minutes because it's not how I hear it in my head. And so sometimes stresses are slightly different on the words, and no one else except me would notice or care. But for me, it's like, I can't do it.
Now, did you have any
narrate for myself? So I would never do it. It's just too much work. So I'm so glad someone else does it very professionally and wonderfully.
Did you have any input into the choosing of this narrator?
For her, no, but I was so glad because I knew that she'd done several other of my kind of dream authors. So it's kind of always nice to go, oh yes.
There you go. Oh.
There's Marnie. Marnie Young is another one that does some of mine, and she's fabulous as well. So I get lots of kind of compliments on people loving Beverly's narration. So it's great.
Yeah, I truly do. Every time I don't even know if I'm sure she narrates other authors as well, but I've only ever heard her narrating your books, and so anytime I hear her, I'm like, oh, there's the Kate Bateman.
She does a great job of like the men's voice, so not pretending to be a man, but definitely changing it enough that you know it's the guy. Which is really hard if you're not having dual narration with a woman and a man doing it. That's really, I think, hard to do, and she does a great job of that. Like, and she keeps a straight face when she has to read all my filthy lines, and she does it. I don't know how many takes she has, but it's really hard to read it. Like, just actually the scanning of it is quite hard because I never really read it out loud, even though you're supposed to. I read it in my head, and so I think some things are actually quite hard to say. I remember Stephen Fry, who narrates the J.K. Rowling Harry Potter. He said he hated. She always writes Harry pocketed it, as in put it in his pocket, and he couldn't say it. He wanted to change it. Harry put it in his pocket because he couldn't say pocketed it because it's really hard to say. No, God, if I said something similar, I made poor Beverly say these really hard to say like combinations of words.
Oh, that's too funny. That is hilarious.
Sorry, Beverly, if I have. Like,
I love that. Here's a comment you are going to love. Megan says, Kate, I love and appreciate how involved you are with readers and the community. A few years ago, I was in your scone baking session for the online Buns and Roses conference.
Oh, that was really fun. It was COVID. I've never made it in person to that Buns and Roses, even though I've been, an author in it for a few years, and because it's down in Texas or Houston, or I can't remember where it is, but we were doing in the height of COVID, we had to do it from my kitchen. I was like, I'll just do a chat and we'll make scones if anyone wants to carry on while I make scones. And I posted the recipe and people were like baking along, and it was brilliant. This is English scones, by the way, the round ones with jam and cream, not the triangular weird things that you guys are. Not a scone, people. Like,
I love it. And don't you say scone or no? I hear scone and I'm like,
more northern is scone, and I think more southern is scone. And I'm like right on the border, so quite a few people say scone and scone. So I would say scone, but that's a regional thing in England where you can lose friends over it. It's like jam first or cream first. I mean, that's like contentious issues.
There's so many things, like a pudding. One of my favorite YouTubers, she keeps talking about putting a pudding in her children's lunch. I was like, what? Pudding?
Yeah.
But she's doing all different kinds of pudding. I'm like, wait, how many different kinds of pudding are there? I'm like,
Dessert is what we would mean by pudding. But yeah, I'll be making mince pies, which are not mince meat as in meat at all. That's like just boozy fruit. Like that's what, but I think it used to be historically meat, spiced meat. So maybe, but my American friends, when I said, oh, would you like a mince pie at Christmas? They're like, hell no. Oh, yeah. It's a fruit pie. It's fine. It's just a fruit.
I love it. I have a dear friend named Julie who a lot of the community knows I talk to literally every single day. And I was making quesadillas for my children for lunch. And she's like, what is that? We can go on and on.
That's our go-to. I mean, yeah, I've got a weird mix of sort of American and English children now who are convinced they're bilingual, but American and English. That's not a thing. But, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But now I have, after 12 years, and I've come back. I forget which is the English word and which is the American word. So I have these moments of like, I don't even know which one is which now. Is it trash can or rubbish bin, or is it nappy or diaper? Like I have moments like coriander, cilantro. So yeah,
so many things to remember. So many things. So we were talking about how you were involved in the community and that you love your readers. But I wanted to sort of piggyback on that, talk about the collaborations that you've done with other authors. Obviously, we have the Rake review here. I've got a snapshot of the calendar, which I was so hopeful that somehow magically they would make a 2025 calendar, which no, that's not happening.
Well, you can get it made into a 2025 calendar. If you go to Zazzle, you just change it to 2025 and you can get it. So that's...
Well, thank you for that. You just made my year, literally, for next year.
And I literally, my lips are sealed on whether there will be any more Rake reviews.
Okay. We're hearing you say that. We're hearing you say
maybe.
Thank you. Thank you. Also, I wanted to, sorry, Tara. I've talked so Tara knows I'm the worst. I'm like, Tara, I'm good.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah,
so
poor Tara, yeah.
I know, right? I'm like, Tara, stop talking while I'm interrupting you.
You're totally
my long-suffering Tara. But I always say that. But let's talk about the Lords of Lace's coloring book, because that just came out, right?
It did, yeah, a couple of weeks ago. That's so much fun. Look at that.
So pretty.
Oh, I love it. Desert Island Duke right there in the middle. Oh,
I got my author copy through the post today. Yes.
Oh, I love it.
So
I was dying.
Yeah, there's some really gorgeous stuff in there. Look, I know it's
let me make it. Wait, I'm gonna make it.
That's very piratey. Yeah, I don't know if I can flick through it. Hang on.
Okay.
I don't know what you can see.
We love a good preview.
Yes, there's Christmassy things. There's like, I'm doing my way. Yeah, it's Christmas and people, and it's very, very pretty. There's people in it. So yeah, I haven't coloured any in yet. My daughter wants to have a go at colouring those ones. That's very Jack Sparrow, isn't it, for Desert Island Duke on that one? That's fun.
We will take it.
But that was a collaboration with Mariah Stone, who put that together, and she's sent us a few messages. We're on a lot of authory Facebook chats and Instagram chats, and she was like, "Hey, does anyone want in on this?" So I was like, "Yeah, that's cool."
I love it.
I always say yes if I don't have to organize it myself. If somebody just says, "Do you want to be in on this?" You don't have to do anything other than give me your cover. I'm like, yes, I do.
I love it. Oh my gosh, the comments too. To Zazzle, they're saying.
Yes, to Zazzle. Yeah, you can get all sorts of merch. They've got, again, I did not. That was Courtney. Courtney settled that up. But that you can get mugs. There's fridge magnets, all kinds of I don't have any of those around, but I've got some magnets somewhere. With
I love it. I love it. These are just so pretty. I wanted to ask, I've been dying actually to ask you this question since I saw you talking about this on Instagram. Has your work as a fine art and antiques appraiser influenced your writing at all? And tell us whatever you feel like sharing about that, because many people don't know that not only are you a writer, but you are a fine art and antiques appraiser as well.
I am. Wait, let me just borrow a child to let the dog out, because he's gone to the door, which means he needs to go out.
Okay, just take your time.
there's a child in hot colours looking cool. There we go. They're all way cooler than I will ever be.
I love it. I love it.
She's not even in her pajamas. That's what they wear all day. Like,
is that the new generation? Is that what they wear? My husband taught high school, and so he said it was roughly that same thing.
You have to have like pants with your name on the butt or something. I don't know.
I have a 14-year-old, so I know.
But yeah, antiques. So yeah, before I started writing historical romance, I still have my own auction house. So I'm an antiques appraiser, and that's what I did. I was one of the experts on some of our TV shows in England, a bit like Antiques Roadshow, but and so I would see all kinds of stuff. There's my brother Greg,
I love it.
That's me. There's me in our other office, and that's our auctioneer David, who's down there. Yeah, there's my website. Look at that. Yeah. So I run it with my dad and my brother Greg, I'm one of 4 siblings, and only 2 of us were stupid enough to go into the antiques trade. We have proper jobs, But we have an auction sale once a month. I still do a day or 2 a week, just being an antiques appraiser. Now I'm back here. But that's why I started writing historical romance, because I had all this historical love and knowledge and used to gravitate towards reading historical romance. And then when I came to America, where I was there for 11 years, you had to have different exams to auctioneer, and it was really complicated. Every state is different, and it was so complicated. I just thought, you know what, I'm not going to be doing appraising here. So I will write, I'd read a really terrible historical romance and literally threw it across the room and said, I wasted like $8 of my life on that. And I said, I could write better. And my husband said, yeah, but I bet you £1 you won't. And I said, I bet you £1 I will. And so it was a £1 bet, which, could I just write just for fun? Could I write a book? Which was Devil to Pay in the end, is what it turned into.
My gosh.
And yeah, got very lucky, got a unicorn getting a deal, and that was ridiculous because I just set out to get some feedback on it, and then ended up with a publishing career. Who knew?
I just love it. Did you get the pound?
It.
So have you been paid? Did he give you the pound?
No, he still has not given me the pound. So yeah, at some point I'm going to get it framed. I'm going to make him sign it. And now we don't have notes. Back then we used to have pound notes. That's how long ago it was. But now it's pound coins. So maybe I'll make it $1 and I'll make him sign it like you were right or something across it, and I'll frame it and hang it on my wall.
That would be so cool. That would be so cool.
One day.
So had you ever see, like, for example, now I'm going to share another thing that I was glancing at the other day. This is just an example, of course.
I see such cool stuff all
the
what? Time. I see such cool stuff all the time. So I saw a couple of weeks ago, this little pocket globe came in, which was super cool. And I did like literally a 30-second, like, oh my God, look at this, is cool. This is me fangirling over this thing in my serum. Stuck it up on Instagram or whatever, or TikTok. And you get like 160,000. I mean, it went viral. It was ridiculous. And,
wow.
Normally I just think it's me geeking out over stuff, and I think 5 people will be excited by it. But turns out lots of people think it's cool. So that was cool in our last sale. Like £6,500.
And do you ever see these things and you think, oh, this is inspiring me to write something, or I need to put something like this in one of my books, or I mean, it's hard to
so I love miniatures. So quite often we get like the little portrait miniatures that come in, especially, and there was one that came in years ago, which was a really good looking military guy in military uniform. And the people were selling it. They didn't know anything about it. They're like, it must be some distant relative. And I was like, that's tragic that this guy doesn't have a story or a name, and he's so good looking. And so I'm just going to, at that point I was like, okay, well, he's an ex-soldier from the Napoleonic Wars. And then that's when you're like, okay, let's give him a story and a happy ever after. And
I just love that.
It's really awesome. You do, there's lots of fun stuff that you see, and so many stories of things that you like could lead you into a scene in a book.
Well, then I have to ask, and if this comes down a rabbit hole, that's nothing. We'll just forget about it. But talking about kintsugi, which you mentioned in one of your books recently, and the art of wabi sabi, how do you want to explain that? Or
So that's one of the themes that runs through Raven's heart. Was she's got a scar on her face, and it's the idea of this. Usually, it's the scarred hero, and I thought, okay, let's have a scarred heroine because that's way more interesting. And the idea that the Japanese idea that if you repair something with gold, it's not the same as it was, but it's more beautiful for having been loved enough to repair it than it was when it was just a perfect vessel. And I was like, that's such a cool metaphor for like life and, you know, the feel of it. So yeah, that quite often I have themes that run through each book, or like a kind of overarching leitmotif or whatever. So that was that. It was the idea of scars and the moon. That moon and the sun was another one. That's the opposites for that. And she was the moon and he was the sun. But yeah, usually it all just starts with a Pinterest board, and that's how I plot out a book. Is I just start pulling in vibe pins, and it sort of turns into. So every book has a feel. I know that sounds really weird.
No.
Visually, I don't know if I make like some kind of weird. Maybe I'm autistic spectrum or something, but every book has a distinct feel to it, and like a color scheme and like a mood board. So it's that thing about authors' walls of crazy. It's like serial killers, you know. We really do have all these. Mine's on Pinterest instead of actually here, but it's true. I mean, it's inspiration pins of like dresses or locations or hot guys or weapons or whatever the thing is that you're going to write about. That's
right.
I share it. Yeah, people can go and look at my Pinterest board and see the actual walls of crazy. If you want it, I'll post it on my.
I just love that. And the other thing that I really appreciated about A Raven's Heart was I'm a fan of Hawthorne, although not really the Scarlet Letter, ironically. I love his short stories. And one of the stories that stood out to me the most, I still think about all the time to this day, is The Birthmark. I don't know if you're familiar at all. But it's essentially saying the same thing that you're saying in The Raven's Heart. And this woman has a birthmark, and she feels that she's flawed beyond repair because of this birthmark. It's a fascinating short story. It's a cautionary tale, really, whereas thankfully this one has a happy ending. But
everyone has a happy ending.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've read too many books where the women are dead at the end, and if that makes it literature, it's not what I want. Like I did classic English lit, and you know, the Russian, everyone dies at the end of Russian, you know, Thomas Hardy, everyone's dead, poor Tess is dead, you know, Tolstoy, you know, they're all dead, you know. And I was like, well, what if Anna Karenina doesn't jump in front of a train and just runs off with Vronsky and lives happy ever after? Like, I'm okay with that. So that's why I write romance. Like,
and we thank you for it. Well, speaking of your heroines, are there any that you most closely relate to? Or this is a question I know you probably can't say a favorite, and I'm going to throw this out to everybody too. If there's one
I guess there must be a bit of me in every hero, or at least some wish fulfillment going on. Like I wish I could be as cool as an international diamond thief or something, or have all these adventures. So yeah, I guess they're all doing stuff that I guess I would love to do or try, or and I want them to be a bit feisty. I mean, they're probably a lot more feisty than I am. I'm probably tragically passive. If I was ever in that situation, I'd be like, oh, we're dead, hey. Or I'd be like, get in, swim across the boat. Are you mad? No, it's cold and wet and slimy. Probably they're a lot more kick-ass than I am. But yeah, I don't know if anyone's. I guess Caro from Desert Island Duke actually is she's quite practical, I guess. So I like all that. I've done a lot of Boy Scout camping and stuff with my kids. So I was like, yeah, I know how to light a fire, and exactly. I was like, you can't just sit there on a beach and hope for rescue. You've actually got to do something. So she gets stuff done. So I suppose I'm quite similar to her. Plus the idea that she's lying. She just cannot, it all starts with a lie. She tells him, or she thinks he's got amnesia, and she just tells him he's a stable boy, and it just carries on from there.
Oh my gosh. Well, that actually brings me to another great question. Which of your travels, or have your travels, do they ever influence your writing? I know you sometimes even will say on Instagram that you're going for research, which I love.
Research. Yeah. I can't write it off as a business expense, sadly. I wish I could. Yeah, I mean, I've been to a lot of the places, like, Italy, I've been to a lot of the museums, usually if they're breaking into places, I've been to it. So, and Wales, my family are from Wales, so that's why the Ruthless Rivals. And you don't often see many Welsh set historicals. There's a loads of Scottish. And I'm like, there is Wales is cool. And so that was a kind of nod for my family of like, I'm going to write you guys some Welsh heroes and heroines in there.
I love it.
I've been to I guess that Secrets and Spies is France, Spain. I've done Italy. I've done Egypt. There's a novella that I did called Promise of a Kiss. That's the one. Never been to Egypt. Never. I wish I had. It's on my wish list. But I've been to Morocco a couple of times, and so I've been close. I've been in the desert. I've been in the Sahara, but just not in Egypt. I've been the other side of Africa. So, and I've been to Zimbabwe as well, so southern Africa. But yeah, that's on my wish list. I'd love to go there.
Yeah. Oh, that would be. And
that was a bit kind of the Mummy-esque, actually. That was a kind of Indiana Jones, the Mummy novella. But it's not steamy. I keep getting so many people are like, please write us the sexy epilogue of, Harry, or what, I can't remember, Harry Tremaine and what's her name? God, I'm awful with remembering my character's name.
Well, I mean, you've got so many.
I can't remember my children, let alone my heroes.
Whatever your name is, I've definitely done that. I have 3 also.
Brian or one of you.
Hey, you.
But that was so maybe maybe if I find time and kick myself, I will do a couple of kind of extra deleted scenes maybe to kind of spice those up, because people might feel cheated on that one. It's they don't get their happy, because that was for an anthology or a collaboration I did years ago that had to be not steamy, it had to be sweet, so that's why they don't have a super, because normally I write quite mid-level steam, open door, but that was not. That literally finishes with a kiss, which is very sweet.
Oh, but that's so cute. I love the title too. I love that. And before I move on, talking about your heroines and the names, I loved Harriet the most.
Harriet.
I related to her, but I love all
Harriet from
I think
Harriet? The Wicked Game.
Is it this one?
Harriet Wicked. Is Harriet? No.
Wait, which
Harriet's
one?
Wicked Game, isn't it? Yes. To be fair, I quite like Harriet as well, because again, she dreamed of traveling. That's the irony is that she'd done all these maps and she'd never been, further than Brighton or something. So she finally got her adventure with Harry. And that I really did send them sailing off after Treasure at the end of that book, which was definitely wish fulfillment. I was probably in a rainy England and I was like, we need some sunshine and turquoise blue, palm trees, the whole lot.
Yes. This is the first cover I ever saw, and it stuck out to me because so rarely do you ever see a man in uniform in historical romance. They've got the uniform of the black trousers and the undone white, the flowing top.
I know. So they did really well, actually, because he's very specifically naval officer as well. And so when we discussed the covers, and I would fill in like a sheet of hero and heroines, hair color, age, any distinguishing features, and I put on his, if we can, he's a military guy, can we at least have him in a navy jacket or something? And they came out with that, which is fabulous. So,
I love it, and I love how she was a cartographer. Is it a cartographer? Or am I making that up?
Yeah, no, she is a cartographer.
I love the way that you've given them, so often, as you were mentioning, like the badass heroines, as you say, they've got their own lives.
They have to do stuff that, they're not just sitting around waiting for the hero to bump into them. But that usually I can't speak English, I've been speaking French, métier, what's it? Their job is to do with the overall theme as well. So that's like the idea of being lost and, finding your way home. And, that's the kind of theme that runs through, like, where is home? And, the idea of traveling and, where are you traveling to? And it's, so that's all those ideas were going through that book of, like, they are each other's, North Star or the X on the map or whatever it is, which was kind of, I thought that was a nice theme, that he's done all the traveling and ended up back to her. I know. Nice so theme. Yeah, that was clever with that. Well, not clever, but I liked that, how it tied in quite nicely, that one, with the theme and the chunk of that. Was good. It sounds like I put a lot of thought into my plotting, and I really don't.
It's all Pinterest right now. I'm just kidding.
No, but like some things do. it like informs itself. Like
Yes.
you can think, okay, well, that's the reason why they're going to be like this rather than this, or do this rather than that, is because they are like a jewel thief will not react to something, a situation, in the same way that a cartographer would, right? And so especially their love scenes as well are always really specific to that character. So like with this one, Reckless, which is it Reckless? No, it's this one, Daring. I think he's an architect. Ooh, don't put my lights off. That's
oh, Daring.
Yeah, he's an architect. So like everything he does when he's he's describing the architecture of her body, and in those terms, all his reference points are that. Whereas if the naval guy, he's always talking about shots fired and hoist the mainbrace. That's it informs their language and their behavior and their interactions. So
yeah. I think this is my favorite one of the series. I love this one.
Yeah, because he's just so. I love the fact that she just doesn't care, and she just loves winding him up. And you can literally see him, like his eyelid is twitching at the need to just strangle. It was a bit kind of Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner vibe on these two, wasn't it? Like, but the tension is so good. Like you're just waiting for him to just snap and go, right, that's it, Missy. Like,
yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Does. The bear, don't ask me where that came from. I get a lot of comments about the bear. And
the bear.
The bear.
It's unexpected. For sure.
It surprised me. I mean, I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. And the ravens were fun. The having a menagerie was fun because obviously you can put some sidekicks in there that are really fun. But
yeah.
That one I think has an auction in as well. I sneak an auction in there at some point.
Oh my goodness. I love that. I love that. Okay, now I need to jump over here because speaking of side characters, talking about our book club book, which I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't really give everybody a chance to talk about this, but I adore, is it Simeon?
Oh yeah. Oh, I know. Those two, Simeon and Julia, the sister, they're like the Shakespearean couple of just utter, they're the ones that just wander off into the woods, get lost,
literally star-crossed.
Like Benedict and who is it? Beatrice and Benedict are like usually my main characters, but those two are just full on side character energy. And yeah, he's just useless. I mean, they're really sweet, and the fact that she's this absolutely gorgeous girl that has fallen for this idiot and could have anyone, clearly him, and it must be love. Like it's inexplicable because she's
right.
And we all know
her pick, and then it's him.
I know several couples like that with incredibly gorgeous, brilliant women who are just with like complete people batting above their weight, but they're happy. So that's another, I guess, aspect of romantic attraction that I thought was kind of a nice counterpoint to our battling hero and heroine, is these two who are exactly, Abby's got it.
Yeah.
Fact that, and I just like the bad poetry and the fact that it was so easy to laugh at. And
yes,
they were like, the main couple were like looking at each other like this, and she was like, "Oh, I just love it." I was like, "Oh my goodness,
this is just vile." Which I guess that is the heroine is more me. I'm just like, oh, they're holding hands. That's gross in public.
I really liked too in this one how she had the money, like she was very rich, and I loved how she kind of like he signed that at the very beginning, and then it came back at the end where he's like, I just want to love you,
I know, poor old Benedict. He's such a nice guy. He's he's nice, and he's just the fact that I guess that I enjoyed where they're in like a public setting, but he teases her so well, and it's just they're quite a lot of fun, those scenes to write. And we get the adventure subplot, but usually it's the guy. It's like the super rich duke that the girl up out of the gutter. And I was like, well, yeah, there were lots of not very well documented, but there were women with their own fortunes, and usually they didn't marry because that's the point. As soon as they got married, it was all their husbands to do with what he liked. And so lots of very rich women got, lost everything because their husbands were idiots. So I like the fact that she was like writing her own prenup, and it's a little bit cold to be like, I'm just going to marry a convict and he's going to be dead by tomorrow, but I will be free. But
I loved that.
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
And I loved how, because she was trying to get rid. It was Josiah, right? That the cousin was
the
vile.
cousin was nasty. Yeah,
Oh, yes.
he was super
Got a
creepy.
feeling.
And but in reality, yeah, I mean, a lot of times if you were caught in a compromising situation, you would have had to marry that idiot. So she was trying to do what she could within the confines of legality in the society. But if it had worked, she would have been a widow. I guess she could have remarried. But again, it would then have all gone back to the next husband. So it's like she kind of had to stay single to keep all the money, or be really sure of the guy. So, or marry equally rich. So,
yeah. I love what Melody says. You have the most creative plot lines.
Truly.
So true.
Really hard to think them up. I mean, usually it's some weird historical fact that I'm like, hey, that would be cool, but like, yeah, it is hard. Like now I'm in the planning stage of a new series, and it's like there's all these different ways it could go, and you're like, no, you've got to really rein it into like what could we actually do and be believable. But
yeah. Well, I have to ask this. Are there any Easter eggs or interesting facts that you can share about your books that maybe not everybody knows? And if not, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but sometimes it's so neat to find little factoids I never knew.
Oh, I don't know. There usually is books. So
with everything, there might not be.
So in some places are real. So Second Duke's the Charm. She is Duchess of Wansford. Wansford is literally a little village up the road, 10 miles from where I live here. So I use some local names, and they stop off at the George in Stamford. That's the old North Road runs by my house, and so a lot of the coaching inns are still here, and so you can go to visit them. And so they're all name checked as real places. One interesting one, I guess nobody knows this, but it's true. This one, which is Princess in the Road, which is my Russian princess, weird, fabulous, bonkers thing. In the opening scene, she is escaping, and I think Russia, and she swallows her diamonds to get them out. She breaks up her tiara and swallows her diamonds with some bread to just basically smuggle them out. And so, weirdly, my own grandma was Russian and escaped when she was a little kid. Her parents fled and they left Russia, St. Petersburg, to go to Latvia, Riga. And she told me before she died that they smuggled her their jewels in her teddy bear, as in they put it in her teddy and stuffed it in the middle of the teddy and sewed it back up. And she said she remembers that the guards actually pulled the stuffing when they were checking. They pulled the stuffing out of her teddy bear, but they didn't find it. And they got away with it. And I was like, that's really cool. That's kind of cool. So I was like, well, maybe she didn't have a teddy bear, but I'd seen that people could swallow the diamonds and then get them back. So that was a cool escaping, a different century, but definitely escaping a revolution and stuff. Wow. So yeah, that was a bit of family history I managed to sneak in there. And I think, I might have even dedicated this to my grandma. Yeah, for Madeline, who threw her diamonds out of a train window. That's a different story. She also threw some diamonds out of a train window to escape the Nazis that time. Different train.
Oh my heavens!
But that generally was the train was getting. They threw them and they don't know where they went. Some farmer at some point is going to plough a field in Eastern Europe and find a bunch of diamonds, which is probably a plot line from another of my books. Like, hey, whose bag of diamonds is this?
Right.
Okay, well then, this brings me to another book that I've really enjoyed, but I don't know how many people know about it. A Midnight Clear.
That's tiny little snackette. It's only like 3,000 words. That was like I wrote that, I think, before I did Princess and Rogue, because I've been toying with the idea of a Russian princess, but that was for a prompt that we were all doing a Christmas. All the characters had to end up at the same brothel on Christmas Eve. That was the only prompt. You're going to end up at Klaus' house. You're all snowed in. And all the novellas featured everyone meeting in the living room. And then that's how it went. So, that was a kind of a precursor to the full novel of, I guess, another Russian princess. But that was a bit kind of War and Peacey, snowed in. Yeah, I mean, it's very, very, very short. It's short and sweet, that one. But it's still my best friend's older brother or, brother's best friend or something. I love that dynamic. He'd thrown her shoes in the stream and, he'd been mean to her. But it's the whole, like, I hate you, I love you. Like,
oh my heavens. Oh my heavens. And I love this. Theron says, I just read A Midnight Clear last night.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I read it last holiday season, and I just found it to be exceptional.
It's very cute. And it's actually really, really hard to write that short. I find novellas really difficult because unless they know each other beforehand, it's very, very hard to get them in 40,000 words to the point where you actually believe that they've fallen for each other. Because usually an 80,000 word novel, that's your midpoint, and it's all going wrong, or they've just got to the stage of acting. Sex at 60 is what they call it. Sex at 60 minutes of a 120-minute film. It's usually that big midpoint game changer. And so that's why, people who write really concise short stories is amazing. Like, I find it hard, although I have done them. But usually it's because they're characters we've met before or they've known each other before. So there's that backstory that you can draw on that then assumes some knowledge. Otherwise, two strangers is hard to get together.
Really?
For me, anyway. Lots of people do it brilliantly.
I think that's fascinating. I love learning all about this. It's so fun. It's so fun.
Weird brain of the author, I know.
Not at all. Well, and with the holiday season coming up, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, but these are all 3 holiday novellas that you've written. Is there anything out?
No, I think. No, I've got one that's I haven't published, but is Midsummer Night's Dream, which is that's one that was in an anthology years ago, and I've got the rights back, so maybe I will self-publish. But that's a Midsummer Night thing. Gotcha. So no, that's it. And so technically, Desert Island is a Christmas romance. They celebrate Christmas with like fish and mangoes on the beach or whatever. And Orchids of Mistletoe is a spin-off from, that's Kit from the first series, Secrets and Spies. He needed his own story. That's Raven rescues him in Raven's Heart. And everyone was asking about him, like, please tell us what happened to Kit. So I was like, he gets his happy ending. So yes.
Oh, can I even tell you? So I read this. I hate to make this about me, but I can't help it. I read this first. I read this during the holiday season. And then, of course, recently, when I was reading your backlist, I read these. And I haven't read A Counterfeit Heart yet. So I can't wait to see what happens with Richard.
That was such a bad name for a hero. For some reason, when I was pitching 1 and 2, it didn't occur to me that the brother and the sister of book 1 would end up with their own books. And so I would have, Richard is a really hard, anyway. She showed it to Dickie, like, I don't know.
But I love that we see Kit get rescued in this book. And then, of course, I'm just thinking about Kit. I adore him. I just adore him so much.
He had a rough time, and he probably deserved his own full-length book, but I didn't have the time for it. I think Counterfeit Heart is one of my most underrated books because I like it. I think she's a cool character, and it's a great premise. She's left with bags of money, and it's like, what if you had millions of pounds and you could just get away with it? Like, what would you do with it? And that's where she is. Napoleon's been defeated, and she was running his counterfeiting operation, and she's got millions of pounds of British banknotes. So it's like, do you just go nuts and go to
right?
And the proper enemies, because he's set out to catch this forger for years. So it's a very cat and mouse. I really enjoyed that book. I don't think many people have read it, but it's like, that's a fun one.
Now you've challenged me. Now I have to read it. I mean, I was hoping to read the whole series. That's the only one I haven't read so far. So
it's fun. And she's got a male friend who is like the male BFF that he at some point could have his own story if I ever get back to that. Armand, but he in the end of he's not on the picture. He's still alive, so I'm not spoiling it. But he could have his own if I branch out, maybe if I need to write him in.
I love that. Well, okay. So again, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but which of your heroes do you admire most? I know for me, I mean, I'm just so obsessed with Kit. Although they're all good and they all have their own.
Oh, he's suffered, poor old Kit. He's suffered and he's lost it. Yeah. I admire. Oh, it's tricky.
Or is there anyone that your fans tend to gravitate toward when they talk to you?
Lots of people like Alex, because he's a bit tough, and people like Alex because he gives Emmy such a hard time in that one. And a lot of people like the bodyguard vibe of Seb in this one, because he's quite if you like that vibe, that's very like, I'll take a bullet.
We love bodyguard. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And the desk scene is lots of people's favorite in that one. But I guess I quite like Harry. So Harry's kind of I don't write fully alpha guys, like usually. They're not. I tend towards them slightly more beat, not soft guys, but they're a bit more creative. They're not just kind of meatheads that go around and pummel people. So I like Harry in this because he's such an enigma. And usually you get alternate chapters from male and female from my books, but this one you don't until halfway through for good reasons if you haven't read it, because you don't know who he is. And I keep the mystery up till the big point.
Love Harry, and I've forgotten how much I love him until you're talking about him right now.
He's just sneaky. He's just that. If you watch the inspiration for that was Remington Steele and White Collar. Those two kind of guys with dimples who are just slick and cheeky, and you totally would, even if you don't know their name, it's just, they're going to have a good time with you. So yeah, that Harry, I like him. I think all my heroes that were vets, that were like Napoleonic veterans, have usually got that backstory. That's an amazing thing to have been forced to do, I guess. And a lot of them, if they were nobility, didn't have to do it. So they had volunteered to do that. And I think that's an amazing thing. I morally object to the fact that people are having to go out and kill each other, but the fact that they are, someone had to do it, and they did save our nation from Napoleon or whatever. So, I guess I think that's kind of admirable. But I also like the guys like Tristan. I like because he's kind of such a geek. He's such a square. He's like this. He's the most like my husband. He's very precise and engineering, and if it's not a right angle, it's a wrong angle kind of thing. And the joy of corrupting this man was very great in that one. So I guess I like him because he's quietly passionate. Like there's a lot of people that like sort of still waters run deep. He was very passionate, and he had to be unlocked, and he had it all faced towards his architecture before, and he just needed her to like unzip him a bit, undo his cravat, and and she needed him to like anger her and stop her being such a chaotic mess, which is why they're perfect for each other.
I love it. I love it so much. I want to make sure I don't miss some of these great comments. What a wild family story about your grandmother. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she was pretty cool. She's no longer with us, but she's awesome.
Yeah, sounds incredible.
I've got extremely bonkers family. They're all quite autistic, most autistic, but also autistic, I guess. Very, kind of interesting. I guess I was never going to be an accountant with my family. They're all antiques appraisers and auctioneers and fine artists. And I'm the only author, I think, in our lot.
Isn't that neat? I love that. I love Terry says, I'm always down for a good spy story. Aren't we all? Phantom Writer says, I binged the Ruthless Rivals series and I really loved it. I can't wait to binge your other series. Truly.
The Ruthless Rivals was fun because it's such a ridiculous. I mean, it started with a pig. I think it's like hundreds of years ago. They just fight. That was based on the Hatfields and the McCoys. And it's such a stupid thing. Like they know they're supposed to hate each other for hundreds of years. Nobody remembers why. It doesn't matter. They love the fact that their whole identity is that we hate the other family, and it's progressed from actually killing each other to like annihilating each other in ballrooms with wit and just snark. And I just thought that was such a great premise for the whole series of like it's an inbuilt conflict. And I mean, you get it everywhere. Look at rival sports teams. Like you're born into whatever this thing is. You don't know why you support the Eagles or what you just do, and you can't ever swap. And so that was that kind of idea that these two families have to fall and they have to get over it, and it's taken 500 years. But even when they get together, they still feel like they're winning. That's what's so funny. They feel like they're converting one of the enemy to their side, or they they don't quite let it go. It's like, well, now you're a Davies, or now you're a Montgomery. So we've got one each now. So it's just so pathetic, and I loved it. I'm all there for the petty rivalry.
Don't we all? We love it. We love it.
I love it too in A Reckless Match, how like was it Griff's dad? Griff's dad had passed away, and then Maddie's dad like almost missed that competition between them after he had passed away. I loved that dynamic.
That's based on a real story from the antiques world, which is there were two really, for years, like 50 years, the two biggest stamp collectors in the world, the philatelic collectors, were these two guys who absolutely hated each other and would outbid each other on whatever rival super expensive stamp. And of course, when one died, the other one could just bid on everything and got everything. And he was like, he gave up because he's like, literally, there's no fun. There's no one to bid against me. I'm the only one that wants it. They offered him the other guy's whole collection. He's like, no, I don't want them. I want them to go back out into the world so I can find them again and bid. And I was like, that's so sweet. Yes, that's exactly it. That these two guys had this, because there are lots of different loves. So there's not just romantic love. There are those relationships and those loves of between two guys in not a romantic sense, but that whole dynamic of like they need the other person, and that is a kind of form of love. Is that and there's lots of those different kinds of links that I think people have in their life, like the person you love to hate, is the classic. Like literally, I've got a guy with a leaf blower down my road that if they ever leave,
I mean, my favorite trope is like hate to love or enemies to lovers. So like, I loved it.
Thank you for that. So yeah, that was an antiques real life thing, infiltrating a plot there.
Yeah. Well, here's a good question. Oh, sorry. You're saying?
No, I just said that's great.
Jenny, if there are any continuity errors, it's because I didn't proofread my previous book. That is fully my error. Because I don't think ahead enough. So like, it's probably just because I've written the wrong age. I'm sorry. That is. Do they not do the same age? I mean, people notice these things and then they'll bring it up like 8 books later, and I'm like, really? Because you're reading them all the way through, I guess, start to finish. Whereas I've had like 6 years between the first and that. So sorry, that's entirely my bad. If that is true, let's just assume that the timeline's different. Whatever.
That's right. We'll do that.
Sometimes it messes up because, for example, the Scandal in July, that for some reason was going to be set in 1818, I think, but then another of the author for their timeline had to have it in 1820 or something, so that messed up. And I probably just forgot to age her up by 2 years. That's quite possible.
There you go.
It's always my fault. If there's a discrepancy, it's totally
I can imagine I would do the same thing.
I'm the problem. It's me. Sorry.
And do you? I assume, based on all of the collaborations that you do and all the different series you've written, do you ever write 2 books at the same time for different things?
No, because a lot of authors can, but I cannot, because it messes with my head so much that and a lot of people can write in different genres, which I think might be easier, but I can't even read historical when I'm writing a historical. I have to read everything else because it just does my head in. So that's why I finish a book and then I treat myself with everything that's all the historicals that have been building up for the last 6 months. I just have a week off and just read everything. And now I'm back to contemporary. I just downloaded the Ali Hazelwood. She did a holiday novella that's on my Kindle for tomorrow, probably.
Oh, fun. How fun. A little late today. This is my favorite read for the Tea and Biscuits with Tara and Bea book club so far. Lovely to see Miss Bateman today. I love it.
Counter argument. That's an excellent.
Isn't that? She is a hoot and a half. In fact, this is the lovely lady who made the background that we were referring to.
The AI beauties. I love them.
Yes.
I wish I had a house that looked like that. Honestly.
I know, right?
Truly.
So we have already kept you for nearly an hour and a half, and I promise I'm not going to keep you.
Really? Yeah. My cake is well and truly cooked now. Like,
okay.
The time went off like half an hour ago.
I tell you what. And I want to give everybody a chance just in case, because I know I've been talking too much as always, Tara. Poor Tara. But if there's anyone else before we go that has a question yeah, that would be if that's okay with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. And I promise we won't keep you much. But I wanted to just
I tell you what, I'm gonna go turn my cake off.
Okay.
And 1 minute to type questions. Let me go.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, this is perfect. Everyone can think about anything they want to say while she's getting her cake. I love it. I think she was talking about this on Instagram. It's like a Christmas cake. Oh, that was really fast. Okay.
It's just over there. I have like a kitchen living room thing going on here in this bit.
There you go. Yes. I love it. So I have in my description box, I don't think I put the Bateman's link for your auction house.
It's just batemans.com. It's
but
really
I was
creative with
the website. I know we can find you on Instagram, for example, and as well as your website. Did you want to mention at all the badass? What is it? The badasses.
My badasses in bodices. That's my Facebook group. Yeah,
that's so fun.
That's my Facebook group. Which is that's usually gets more stuff and kind of a bit more early stuff than my regular Casey Bateman author page. So yeah, there it is. 1.7,000 close friends and relations. Which is they get sneak peeks and stuff, and I don't always post the same things as I would in my other stuff. That wasn't actually my crumble from the other day, but it looked almost as good. I love it. But it's not all writing related as well. Like it's usually just me having a moan about whatever's happening that day, like extra pictures of the dog or something.
I love it. Oh, that's too funny. I love Megan says, I'm in the group.
Yeah, I do some giveaways for the
fun.
I do some giveaways extra for my little group, And I haven't joined Blue Sky yet, which seems to be the thing. I'm on Threads, but I lurk. I don't post. I just read everyone else's. But I may join. It's just one more thing. To kind of. So mainly Facebook and Instagram Instagram I love because I don't have to think too much about writing. Ironically, because it's a short caption. I do that all day, every day. Like having to actually think about 50 words.
Right. We don't want you to get burnt out. We can't have that. We cannot have that. I love Phantom Writer says, thank you so much for the great books. I just love it. I love it. Thanks for the attentiveness to smell in the book. It was all bad until they got to her warehouse when it suddenly smelled good. Not a question. Grateful observation.
Generally, I guess you want to be feeling all the emotions, right? You want to smell and to taste and to hear and to, But I guess Regency London was probably pretty stinky. So I mean,
I think so, yeah.
Actually, it was Road Trip with a Rogue. There's a running theme that she just loves pastries and cakes, and so he watches her eat the pastry and cakes, and he cannot. It literally drives him mad, and she obviously then realizes it and does it even more in front of him just to annoy him, and she knows the power she has over him of like eating. That's all about taste. She's obsessed by pastries and cakes, and literally she's like, the only weddings I go to, I only go because I want the cake. I mean, this girl's obsessed. It's just like a running gag throughout that one. So that would be a taste book, I guess, if whichever that one was. If
there you go.
Smell book, I think Rachel.
I love that. Megan says, since you spent time in America, will that come up in future books?
I don't know if I have the audacity. Like, there's a lot to be saying. Stick with what you know. I'm quite clearly an English person. But that said, I mean, I would love to do a pirate sort of Lafitte down in the South, Louisiana, swampy. Like, what was that book on a riverboat with was it Maverick? That vibe of like Mel Gibson and
I know what movie you're talking about. What is it called?
She was in Silence of the Lambs. Jodie Foster. They were this. So anyway, that's the vibe I would love to do with pirates, and
how fun!
Maybe I don't know. Maybe. But I would never do a Western. I would never do anything like that, just because I just don't know enough about it. And I would just have to do, I'm lazy. I would have to do so much research. It would take like 10 years, and then an American could do it so much better. So maybe not.
Funny.
I might do a South American one though. I'd love to do a jungle, slashing jungle, El Dorado, river rapids, something like that. I don't know.
Yes.
I pitch all these to my agent, and she's like, "No, Kate, you can't. What happened to the Regency?" I'm like, "But."
Oh, that's too funny.
I don't know. What's great? Oh, it was a TV show with James Gunn. Yes, sorry. It was actually. Yeah.
Oh, Maverick was. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, how fun.
I love that.
I guess for TV shows, obviously, the Charlie's Angels theme was this kind of a run through that. Obviously, the idea of having a fictional boss, that came from Charlie's Angels, and also from Remington Steele was the same premise. And it was the idea of 3 girls having this detective agency. But it's not a very strong metaphor. Like, please do not read like Charlie's Angels all the way through. That
slightly
was
inspired by
the nod.
A general
not
idea
based on.
Exactly. But
oh my god,
they were fun, that kind of thing. I think they were kind of there was a bit of action, there was a bit of camaraderie, there was a romantic interest, there was some kickassery. That's the kind of vibe that I really went for
yes
for those, so that was good.
Yeah, truly. And we all appreciate it. We do. I love this comment too. This was my first book of yours I've read, This Earl of Mine, and it jumped straight into To Catch an Earl. I'm hooked. Your writing just immerses me in the story, and I can't put it down.
Thank you. That's so sweet. I mean, what's ridiculous is it's obviously we enjoy writing them, but you get to at midpoint, which is for me about between 60 and 70,000 words, where you're really regretting your life choices and the decision to ever become a writer, and you hate this book and it will never end. And luckily I've done enough that I know that if you just keep writing, it will end and it will be fine. But there's that point. So actually, to get readers that then really like the finished product is so amazing and lovely to us authors, that we're like, oh, I slugged through this. And then people, it's taken me 3 or 4 months to write this thing of blood, sweat, and tears. And then people are like, I read it in 4 hours. When's the next one? And you're like, I'm so sorry. I need to breathe. Thank you.
Give me a moment.
May I point you to my backlist, because it's going to be at least another 6 months until I get, this is the novella that I managed to eke out between all the craziness. But
oh my gosh! And speaking of, so excited for Daisy's book.
I'm seriously excited for Daisy's book. And so thank you for all the lovely people that are on here. If anybody wants, I'm going to put together an ARC team. If anyone wants an ARC sending of that, it will be a digital ARC probably, because I don't get the print ones. For Road Trip with Rabe. No idea when it will come to me, or when I can send them out, but send me a DM on Let's Do It on my Instagram. Send me a DM and just say, I saw Tea and Biscuits and you promised to put me on that list. I will say, like, the first 20 people that DM me, I will put on an ARC list, and you'll all get it however early when they release the ARCs. So,
they're all leaving now, by the way. They're like, let me go on Instagram.
But yeah, I'm excited for this one.
It's like, wait, hold on. I think
you can be on the list. You're on the list. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, because Lucian is just a grumpy nightmare, and I love it. And they have excellent history. Like, I'm so sorry I'm teasing you with this. It's not out for like 6 months.
No, we're excited, especially if we're going to be able to join the ARC team.
We love the anticipation.
I will do a few maybe I'll do a few teaser chapters, but yeah.
This is so exciting.
It was I just like that she holds up the wrong coach, basically. That's the premise. She's trying to stop a coach to stop
the tagline. She holds up the wrong coach. Done.
Exactly. What happens when you hold up the wrong coach and inside is not the 2 people eloping you've been paid to stop, but your worst nightmare, your best friend, your brother's best friend who kissed you one time and then left you by being really mean. Oh,
I love it.
This is
I
gonna
love,
be great.
I love it when Doc says, I'm so sorry I cover you up, Kate, when I do that. I've never had an arc. I don't know. I can handle the pressure. We'll coach you through it. We'll coach you through it. You'll be fine.
If there's any continuity errors, just don't tell me. Because by that point, it's too late. It's gone to press. There's nothing I can do. Or at least tell me, because I want to know. But do it privately in a DM and just say, "Hey, here's my work." And so maybe next time it's like when we do a reissue, then I can change it and go, actually, she should be 28, not 29, or whatever.
Gosh. I was in an ARC team and there was a Discord and they were just talking to her about every little thing. They're like, "Are you sure you meant to use that word?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you guys."
Yeah. It doesn't mean what you think it means. Yeah.
I love it. ARC team 2025. Woo! Tea and Biscuits moving up in the world. All right.
I'm just thrilled anybody wants to read any of them, to be fair. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it's just so nice that you can geek out with the same kind of people that enjoy it. So
my heavens, yes, that's what we love. That's what we love. And that's why we're so grateful that you joined us today.
Yes.
Megan has a question. She's Canadian and she says, "What about Canada? Would you ever write a story set in Canada? We're mostly British."
It's quite cold. Yeah, maybe. I've been to Canada. I had to go to Canada to get my visa or something renewed and then go back. So I shut down the whole Toronto IKEA when one of my children got lost. But that's
oh no.
Oh no, it was fine. They put themselves to bed in one of the bedrooms. Just rounded up. And it took us like an hour to find them. And by that point, they'd literally closed the whole store down and stopped anyone leaving. And
oh my.
Parent of the year here.
No, that happened to me too in a Kohl's. I could not, it was only a few minutes, but I could not find him. And he had put himself in one of the beds.
I know, exactly. It's like if they make it look like a bedroom with cuddly toys and cute lighting, what am I supposed to do? Can't blame it. It was time to go to bed. Like they get it. So yeah, Canada maybe. I like a good rugged Mountie. You know, I'm not
there you go. There you go.
And maybe the French Connection. There's lots of kind of attractive, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of intrepid, you know, historical people that ended up going there. Like starting with the Vikings. You know, you all ended up in Newfoundland and stuff. So yeah, there's a kind of rugged man that I could see myself doing a Canadian.
We have so many ideas for you.
Send them all in, and I will. You know, we'll just pick one out for a novella. You know.
Oh my heavens! This is a hoot here. I'm so British descended that my English and Scottish halves beat up on each other every once in a while. There you go. Oh my goodness.
That's another classic Ruthless Rivals. You know, we historically, it's like the English and the French. You know, we just can't help ourselves. You know, and the irony is we both massively admire the other country as well. So we're like, we love all your croissants and wine and everything good. But at the same time, I feel like we should protest. Like, just
on principle.
Yes, but also send all your fashion and your coolness over to us because we don't have any. Like,
that's right. That's right. Oh my goodness, I love it. Oh man, this has been such a beautiful afternoon. I can't tell you what a thrill. I'm so grateful that you were willing to share your time with us today. I mean,
I'm going to go and feed some children and take my Christmas cake out of the oven and, you know, all these
There you go. Well, we are going to say goodbye. I think everybody just about had their questions answered. And we are going to just continue to read your books. And I'm sure you'll be getting DMs from us as well. For the art.
Absolutely. So send it over. So, well, thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for reading all the books, and keep doing it. You know, I want to keep doing it. So,
yay! Great news. Yay. All right. Well, you all have a wonderful afternoon. Oh my heavens! And I'm just one last thing before we go, because otherwise I'm going to forget. But a quick plug. Next month, reading sprints are on Wednesday, December 4th at 7 p.m. We're doing The Mistletoe Mistress by Madison Michaels, and the live show is Sunday, December 15th.
Potentially.
It is potentially, I was saying.
Yeah, that depends if Madison Michaels wants to join us or not.
All right. Well, we'll see. We shall.
That's a great cover. Right?
Very
Christmas. Look at that.
That was our vote for That was our vote for December. A little quick
Yeah.
novella. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Yes.
Well, thank you again, Kate Bateman. You're amazing, and I'm so thankful.
Oh.
And I hope you enjoy your cake.
Right, I'm going to go back to plotting that new series now. I've got to hand it in on Friday to my experts and my agent. So
Exciting.
me luck.
All right. Well,
I'll
thank
see
you
how much
so much.
crazy I can get away with by sneaking it in
There you go. All right. Well, thank you everyone who joined us,
Right.
and we will see you next time. Take care.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Tara.